We'll get to that in a moment. While we're on the token economics part in the blockchain, if you look at potential applications for this technology, acknowledging that we're 18 months away from something real and viable, in which industries do you think crypto has the most promise as an enabling technology?
So anywhere where there's a social network with simple, Uber, I keep using Uber as an example, right? What does Uber do? It matches drivers and riders. There's a social network, a peer-to-peer matching system, drivers and riders, and it sits in between, and it provides a billing service and a map, surge pricing, and charges 25 to 30%. Like, that is so ripe for a decentralized system to come in and at least compete with it. Uber's not going to roll over and play dead. They're going to fight back, but it's a perfect use case. And what's interesting is the way the token in a theoretical decentralized Uber works. It's not equity. It literally is a future on what a ride would cost, or how many rides can you get for one token. And so when drivers and riders and engineers and speculators own that token, they all want it to go the same direction. As more and more people use that service, as they take Dubers instead of Ubers, decentralized Uber, as they use that service and ridership grows, more and more become speculators in that token. And so the token starts feeling like equity, even though it's not equity. It's a really interesting use case, because here's a company, one of the fastest growing companies in the history of the world, and an amazing company in lots of ways. Uber, it's changed the way we've all maneuvered around cities. And even before it goes public, there's a threat that's coming. And again, it's not coming this year. It's coming 2 to 3, 4 years down the road before everything gets scale. But it's coming, I'm 100% certain.
Even if investors, institutional investors, get over the acceptance hump, they understand what crypto is, they understand how a blockchain works, they buy into this notion of tokenized economics, there's a whole other set of barriers to institutional ownership. And we should talk about that. Custody is probably at the top of the list.
Yeah, well, let's start with...
So let's talk about this Uber and the idea of taking down central authority, which I think is why I am very bullish on cryptos. But there's a lot of middlemen that make money, and Uber and, for example, Airbnb, they're not that bad. I mean, they do take a fee. It is kind of messed up that a lot of the Uber drivers work for minimum wage, blah, blah, blah. It's terrible. But the ones that I want to see, and obviously I do believe that Uber will have to become more efficient. If Uber's taking a 10%, 20% cut with decentralized applications, it might have to now become 5% or 3%, which is great. The biggest crux, and if you've been following my channel, you probably know this, are the banks. The banks are the ones that are the biggest parasites, the biggest leeches, and the idea that there'll be a decentralized way to kind of counter them and force them to charge lower prices and lower fees will be great for the consumer. But like I said, it's good to see that crypto can dethrone large central powers like Uber. It's a very profitable company, makes tons of money, and it would be nice if their profit would actually go back to the drivers who are doing all the work. And like I said, instead of them making minimum wage, maybe they make a little bit above minimum wage, or just make it more affordable, because at the end of the day, and Uber does provide a great service and they deserve every penny they have. But I'm a free market guy. I really do believe in competition, and I would love to see some free market competition between the centralized authorities and the decentralized. And like I said, I think there's always going to be a use case for centralized banking, centralized rideshare, but at the same time have that decentralized option. And hopefully, and that's the thing I am worried about, Uber has a lot of political lobby. That's how they were able to get into New York, and they spent a lot of money on lobbying politicians. That's my only fear, is that decentralization will not, at least in the beginning, have the political lobby power where I feel like central companies like banks and Uber will. So we have to see how that plays out. But let me know your thoughts on this, and I will talk to you guys soon.